All right, man, peace. So, for those of you brothers who follow the sports world, particularly the NFL, you know about Mr. Tom Brady. He's most likely the most famous quarterback in the NFL today, if not of all time. He's known for his exploits on the field, but off the field, he's known for being married to the world famous model, Miss Giselle Bundchen. And it was just very interesting as I was going through this old episode of the CBS Morning News where they highlighted a certain photo that Giselle Bundchen took. And she was doing a gesture that I just wanted to bring to brothers' attention because it's a gesture that you'll probably see quite often. And certain brothers, certain men, certain people out there might know what the gesture represents, but some people might not. So, of course, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
People says that Giselle Bundchen is the first model to pose makeup-free on the cover of Italian Vogue. She appears on the cover of this month's edition just days before her husband, New England Patriots, that's Tom Brady, plays in Sunday's Super Bowl.
As I told you guys, this was an old episode of the CBS Morning News. I was just going through my DVR and I happened to catch this. As you can see, it's very clear that Miss Giselle Bundchen, or I'm sure some of you will say Mr. Giselle Bundchen, is in the craft, which we already knew, but it's just good to get confirmation, things like this. As you can see in the photo, she's only exposing her left eye. Her left index finger is pointing upward. That's known as the gesture of St. John, by the way, or the finger of Jupiter. In palmistry, they assign a certain planetary body to each one of your fingers. As I've already stated in previous videos, the middle finger is known as the finger for Saturn. The ring finger is for Apollo or the sun. The pinky is for Mercury. And the index finger is for Jupiter. And for many of you brothers, if you have researched some of these things, the practices of the adherence to Hermetic philosophies, Masonry, Luciferianism, so on and so forth, you can go into the scriptures and it will tell you about the ideologies of these people within the craft, whether you call it Wicca or Luciferianism or Masonry. You could read Proverbs, the 6th chapter, starting at the 12th verse. And it will tell you about a quote-unquote naughty person, a wicked man, how he speaks with a froward mouth, how he teaches with his feet, how he maketh symbols with his fingers, things like that. It's talking about Masonry. I'm paraphrasing, but you brothers could look it up. It's in Proverbs chapter 6, starting at verse 12. Okay? And they do this all the time to venerate Heru, or Aset, and also Jupiter. Jupiter is talking about Nimrod as well. Now, the finger for Jupiter is also an allusion to the concept of as above, so below, which was one of the principles that was taught to mankind by Hermes, aka Thoth or Tahuti, who's known in the scriptures as Cush. Okay, so if any of you brothers have ever researched some of the teachings or the instructions of ancient Kemet, it'll tell you about the 42 books of Thoth or Tahuti. What's interesting is that when you look up the bio for Miss Giselle Bundchen, it will tell you that she went to London and she went on 42 auditions before she finally got her breakthrough. Clearly that number was meant to be symbolic because she is an adherent to the Hermetic principles, the Hermetic philosophies, or what they call today the Baphomet, which is just talking about Pan, who is Cush. It all goes back to the same person, the same entity. So now let's go on. Let's see what else they show here.
On Instagram, she posted another.
Oh, did you see that? Let me rewind it back just a little bit.
Photo. Husband, New England Patriots, that's Tom Brady, plays in Sunday's Super Bowl. On Instagram, she.
Now look at that. Within that little circle, look at how she's cupping her hands around the sun. Why is that? Because she's a sun worshiper. As everyone in the craft is, they venerate the sun. The sun represents who? It represents Nimrod, how he brought light to the world. He's also known as Prometheus. He brought the fire, the enlightenment. That is what that represents. Like, for example, when you read about Zeus and he cast lightning bolts down on the people, when they call him the god of lightning, that's symbolic. That's talking about how he brought light to the people. He enlightened them. Like for example, in the Hindu religion, they have the god Agni, Agni. He has the lightning bolt on his forehead. He's also known as the god of enlightenment or the fire god. Like you have that character, Harry Potter. He also has the lightning bolt on his forehead. That's for Agni. That's why they popularized Harry Potter and the stories about witchcraft. They want to make that form of belief, Wiccan. They want to make it more palatable for the masses. And they've been doing it for a very long time. All Harry Potter really is a toned down version of Star Wars. That's why you constantly see that theme of two guys and a girl. That goes all the way back to Cush, Nimrod, and Semiramis. Or as they were also called, Asar, Aset, and Haru. So, I mean, it's always that trinity or that trilogy per se. But always pay attention to a lot of the photos that they take. They'll tell you that they're within the craft. And when you want to understand, sometimes Masons will tell you, oh, well, no, in Masonry, you have to believe in God to become a Mason. Their God is Lucifer. And all the little winking of the eyes, how they have to stand, their finger gestures. Just go to Proverbs, the 6th chapter, from verses 12 to 14. Simple as that. That finger is also known as the gesture of St. John. I believe I mentioned that already. When the Templars came back from the Crusades, they came back with the knowledge of how to venerate the Baphomet. And they started an apostasy pertaining to the worship of St. John and their statements that they believed that St. John was the real Messiah. The Templars also started the rumor, the concept that Christ slept with Mary Magdalene and started the Merovingian dynasty. For those of you who don't know, for you brothers out there who don't know, the Merovingians were so-called black people, by the way. The original inhabitants of France and Germany, the Gauls, they were so-called black people, the original Celts of Europe. Mary Magdalene was of the tribe of Benjamin. Most of the Merovingians were either of the tribe of Benjamin, Judah, or Levi. Like, not to digress, but for example, Charlemagne, he was Judah. Okay? What they call, or who they call, the Salian Franks. Salian. The Salian Franks, they were of the tribe of Judah. They were so-called black people. But anyway, just getting back to the topic here. That finger gesture that she has pointing up, that's for as above, so below. That's known as the finger of Jupiter. That's also known as the gesture of St. John. Just to harken back to the Templars who brought the veneration of the Baphomet into Europe. That's why they got hunted down and killed. That's why they were hunted down and killed. And the Templars were so-called black men, by the way. When they went to fight in the Crusades, they learned a lot of the mysteries of ancient Babylon. And they became enraptured by those mysteries, and they brought them back to Europe. And when that was found out by the Catholic Church, who themselves were venerating Osiris, they started to hunt down the Templars and kill them. Why? Because the Templars started the original banking system of medieval Europe. And they got many of the monarchies of Europe in debt with them. But that's a whole nother video for another day. Let's just stick to the topic here.
She posted another photo from the shoot as she posed wearing her Looney Tunes slippers.
Yes, she's wearing the Looney Tunes slippers because that is her way of saying that she is the white rabbit. You must follow her. Okay, follow the white rabbit. That's talking about you following her down the rabbit hole into the worship of the sun god. That's why these people are set up and venerated. I'm sure that she was paired with Tom Brady. Most of the high-profile couples in Hollywood are arranged. So I have little doubt that she was paired with him so that they could bring forth children of a quote-unquote royal bloodline, because they're all considered gods and goddesses once they get to that level. That's why I said in one of the early videos that I did with Serena Williams and quote-unquote Alexis Ohanian, that they're both transgender. He was most likely born a female and they turned him into a male, and she, without a doubt, was born a boy, a male. Allegedly. Everything I'm saying is alleged. And transferred her over. That's why they had the baby and they named the baby Olympia. You can view a painting of the goddess Olympia being raped by Jupiter. Right? Jupiter was always shown to have the lower half of his body as being of a serpent. These people, they worship the pagan gods. I know a lot of you may have trouble believing that. But that is why Giselle Bundchen has on those rabbit shoes. All that represents is follow the rabbit, follow the white rabbit, follow me down the rabbit hole to the spiritual world. Leave the matrix. To them, the matrix is this regular world where you believe in quote unquote, the God of the church. And they know that the Catholic Church system is totally based in the veneration of Nimrod and Semiramis, or, you know, as they're called also, Jupiter and Juno, so on and so forth. They know that the Catholic Church is based in the Babylonian mystery school system. As a matter of fact, St. Peter, the statue of St. Peter in the Vatican, is actually Jupiter. That's who that is. All right. So they sneak this in. They're tired of hiding it. They're tired of you worshiping, quote unquote, God on a low level, and they're trying to raise your level. So many people made a big deal about Tom Brady making out with his son. That is his way of bringing him into the craft. They all must be pansexual. They all must be pansexual. Same thing with Will Smith and what he did to his son. Remember, Will Smith was making out with his son on TV, trying to break down his inhibitions. When you watch how Tom Brady made out with his son was disgusted. Because the natural inclination of a person is to prefer someone of the opposite sex. Tom Brady purposefully made his son do that on camera to embarrass him. Because Tom Brady's a high-level witch. He's a monarch athlete. He's what you call a quote-unquote Manchurian candidate.
She wrote Sunday early morning with no hair, no makeup at home.
Yeah, whatever. Sunday at home. That's also talking about the rising sun, the worship of Heru. But the only reason why she has on the rabbit slippers is for you to get, for her to get you to follow her. That's what that is supposed to imply. Follow the white rabbit. I think I mentioned this in another video, but that's where you get the cereal of Trix. You have the white rabbit on the Trix cereal box. The term Trix, or Trix, is an abbreviation for matrix. You must follow the white rabbit. That's why they say tricks are for kids. When you think at a low level, you have to stay in the matrix. But when you're ready to be informed and enlightened, then you come into the spiritual world. See, people think that movie, The Matrix, is about liberating your mind. It is, but it's on the left-hand side. They want to tell you what you're really worshiping when you go to church and all that other stuff, but they don't think that you're ready yet. They're trying to prep you. That's why they've used certain scientists and doctors and psychiatrists and psychologists to normalize homosexuality, pansexuality, the veneration of women, the acceptance of homosexuality, transgenderism, because that all those things were what were practiced in ancient Kemet and Babylon, and they're trying to bring that back into its fullness here, but they have to prep you slowly. Let's see what else they have to say on this.
And sports.
Okay, I guess that's it on that. All right, so now I want you guys to pay very close attention to this conversation here. The Caucasian woman in the center, her name is Norah O'Donnell. I've already mentioned her in previous videos. She's without a doubt someone who was prepped to take the position that she's in from her childhood. She grew up on an army base in South Korea, and there is video of her as a newscaster for the army base as young as 11 and 12 years old. There's a video that I did on the RFID chip implementation where she says on camera, her and Charlie Rose in concert, they state that, yes, they would take the chip. Why are they saying that? Because they most likely already have it. Gail acted flummoxed. She most likely doesn't have it yet. Gail is Oprah's handler, so Gail is in the know on certain things, but other things she may not be in the know. But Ms. Norah O'Donnell said point blank that she would take the chip because she most likely already has it. But just pay very close attention to what she says about Tom Brady. They're going to have a little conversation about the Super Bowl, which of course at this point had not been played yet. Gail is going to ask them who they think is going to win. And just pay very close attention to what Norah O'Donnell states, because it's going to reveal certain things about how Tom Brady is viewed. Remember, like I told you, in the craft, depending on how high you get, you're viewed as gods and goddesses.
So who are you rooting for?
I'm going to root for entertaining commercial.
Yeah, there you go. It's very safe mode.
I believe the Phillies have it in the bag.
This Dizzy Bra said the Phillies.
Because Nick Foles, the quarterback,
yeah.
you know, he has a straight line to the big guy upstairs because he's in seminary school.
Well, seminary school has nothing to do with having a quote-unquote straight line to the Most High. The Most High has to choose you. You can't choose him. You can go to seminary school and Bible school for 1,000 years. If the Most High doesn't want you, you're not going to get the understanding. Simple as that. And seminary school is really just... it harkens back to the introduction into the mysteries of Osiris, where you would start as a little boy and you would have to be put through sex magic rituals where older men would have sex with you. That's why it's called seminary. It's talking about the seed of the penis. Okay? That's what it's talking about. When someone goes to a seminary, they're going to a place where they're inducted into a methodology on how to venerate the penis. Might sound strange, but that is the case. That is why you have obelisks. That is why you have a concept known as the maypole or the shaft of Baal. It's known as sex magic. They venerate, they worship the penis as well as the vagina. But when these young men go to seminaries to learn about, quote unquote, learn about God, they're really being inducted into a method, a modernized method on how to become priests of Osiris or Baal. But anyway, let's get back to the point. Once again, pay very close attention to what Miss Norah O'Donnell is going to say.
That's right.
He's praying and studying.
Now remember, this female here said that Nick Foles has a direct line to God. Matter of fact, let me rewind it back, get everything in context.
Studying. I believe the Phillies have it in the bag. Because Nick Foles, the quarterback,
yeah.
you know, he has a straight line to the big guy upstairs. Because he's in seminary school.
That's right.
He's praying and studying, and you know, I just think this year, the Eagles.
The Tom Brady is healthy. So.
Yeah, and Tom Brady is God, so that may actually...
Did you hear what she said? Now, the first female stated that Nick Foles has a direct line to God. This female, Norah O'Donnell, said Tom Brady is God. There are certain athletes within the craft that are venerated. They're worshipped. Tom Brady, LeBron James. Remember how quizzical people were in last year's finals when Rihanna just could not control herself on the sideline whenever LeBron James ran past her? She was doing all type of gesticulations and dabbing and all this other stuff. I did a video about it. Stated that LeBron James has her keys. This female here did a sit-down interview with Tom Brady, and she could not even control herself. She literally couldn't control herself. He was going through the TB12 line of products, and all this woman looked like was, okay, enough of that. When are you going to go deep on me? That's all she was concerned with. That's what her face said. I'm going to rewind it back one more time. She's trying to laugh it off, but she truly believes that he's a god.
He has a straight line to the big guy upstairs. Because he's in seminary school.
That's right.
He's praying and studying, and you know, I just think this year, the Eagles.
The Tom Brady is healthy. So.
Yeah, and Tom Brady is God, so that may actually... They may be praying to God, but Tom Brady is God.
Now, you see that this lady here, Michelle Miller, she said bad girl. She was talking to Norah O'Donnell because she understands that comment took it way over the edge. It took it too far. And even the homosexual dude next to her looked shocked, like, what is wrong with this bitch? Let me rewind it back again.
The Tom Brady is healthy. So.
Yeah, and Tom Brady is God, so that may actually...
Look at the guy sitting to the left there. He's like, whoa. I didn't get the memo on that one.
They may be praying to God, but Tom Brady is God.
Michelle, he hears our prayers, but he may not answer them.
Yeah.
I know. Well, you know.
Nicely done, guys.
Yeah, that was terrific.
What are we going to do with all this information now?
The same thing you normally do, nothing. But anyway, I just caught that in this episode here, and I just thought it would make a good video because it's just very interesting that they make it so plain for those of us who know what we're watching. But if you don't know what you're watching, it's just a gesture. It's just a photo. So just be vigilant for you brothers out there. And once again, you can go over Proverbs, the 6th chapter, the 12th to the 14th verse. And it tells you about the concept known today as masonry, where they like to take photos and they teach with their fingers, as the scripture says, And this is why I always highlight when certain athletes or affluent people make the mano con neutral hand sign or the so-called peace sign, or they're winking, or they're just showing their left eye. These are things that you have to be aware of, because that person is telling you that they're an agent of chaos. And when you read on in that passage, I believe down in verse 14 or 15, it tells you about how they sow discord, quote unquote Luciferians. That's their job. Their job is to bring confusion. But anyway, peace. All right, man, peace. So I decided that I was going to add some photos onto the end of this video just to provide some added context to many of the statements that I made in the video pertaining to Miss Giselle Bundchen, or Mr. Giselle Bundchen, depending on what you prefer, and her husband Tom Brady as being Luciferians. And as you can see in the pose that she did for the magazine cover, she was utilizing a pose known as the finger of Jupiter, or it's also known as the gesture of St. John. But it's really just the Hermetic principle of as above, so below. She was showing that she's in the craft, that she's loyal to the secrets, that she's knowledgeable of the secrets. And as I stated in the video, without a doubt in my mind, she was assigned to Mr. Tom Brady. She's most likely his handler, or one of his handlers. Very similar to Aisha Curry and Steph Curry, where she has certain keys that she can use with him just to make sure that he stays in line to a degree. A similar dynamic is the movie Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I've touched on that movie in the past. I'll probably do a little video on that if I can get that on my DVR, where she's basically just assigned to watch him and make sure that he stays in line. It doesn't not necessarily mean that he has no free choice, but if the chance comes that he steps out of line a little bit, she has certain keys or certain things that she can use on him. Remember, before Tom Brady was with her, he was with another actress named Bridget Moynihan. And if you look at Bridget Moynihan, she certainly does not look like the most feminine female on the planet Earth. Her neck looks a little bit too thick to strictly be a female. But, that's neither here nor there. I'm not one of these transgender experts like a lot of these guys on YouTube. As I've stated in the past, there are many famous trannies running around Hollywood. There's no doubt about that. But do I believe that every last person was born of the opposite sex that they're claiming right now? No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. But just getting back to the point, you have here Mr. Sean Puff Daddy Combs. He's doing the as above, so below sign with his fingers, the finger of Jupiter pointing upward as well as downward, showing that he's in the craft, he's loyal, and he'll never turn. And it makes sense because as you can see, if you pay attention, they will never let Sean Puff Daddy Combs fall off, because he's ready to do anything for his god, the Baphomet. Anyone who came up through the business through Andre Harrell and Clive Davis and those demons, he has to be a demon himself. And things like who killed Tupac and who killed Notorious B.I.G., he's well aware of these things, but he'll never tell. Because the reason why he's so famous right now is because they can trust him. They know that they can trust him. And that's also why, as I stated in the video that I did a while ago, when the news broke that he was going to be considered to buy the Carolina Panthers, I told you guys that he has people backing him. I have little doubt that George Soros is backing him, or that conglomerate of foreign bankers who want to make sure that they can try to bring discord into the NFL, because they're trying to use sports to condition and engineer the people. The NBA, they pretty much have under their thumb. It's the NFL that they're trying to use, because the NFL is the most popular sport in America. And America is where they establish the social mores and the overall pop culture of the world. That's why it's so important to be able to manipulate the so-called black male and female, because whatever they do, everybody else is going to copy. All right. So as you can see, Sean Diddy Combs, he's in lockstep. And there's no way that you can explain why he's doing that hand sign right here. And people never ask these athletes and these famous actors and musicians, why do you do these weird hand signs for? You're not in a gang, so why are you doing these hand signs? Nobody asked them. You know why? Because the photographers are in the know. That's why I always highlight and make sure that I point out to you guys whenever I'm going through a video that I've DVR'd. I say, look, do you see how they purposefully have a photograph of a certain athlete doing the mano cornuto or doing this or doing that? Because it's coordinated. A lot of the producers are in the know. Okay, so let's see another one. Now, this is a depiction of a quote unquote so-called saint named Saint Dionysius. It's really not a saint. The saints of the Catholic Church are based off of the Babylonian mystery school system, the gods of the Babylonian Kemetic mystery school system. They just took those gods and they put a ST dot in front of them. That's all they did. This is Dionysus, aka Bacchus, in a cleaned up version. And you know that because you can see by the hand sign that he's doing. He has the peace sign with his right hand, and with his left hand, he has the peace sign going downward. As above, so below. Okay? And a lot of the so-called black men here who are interested in or who are followers of the Kemetic system, they'll tell you there's nothing wrong with it. Most of those guys don't understand what they're following. They have no idea. The Kemetic mystery school system was based almost totally in sex magic and pansexuality. When you read the story of Heru, there's a portion where he's having sex with his enemy, Set, and instead of letting him ejaculate on his backside, he pulls out a bed of lettuce and lets him ejaculate on the bed of lettuce. Okay? That's what the Kemetic mystery school system is about. It's about sex magic and pansexuality. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. So now this is quote unquote St. Peter, in the Vatican or nearby the Vatican. They have you thinking that this is St. Peter, but this is actually Jupiter, or representative of Jupiter, who is Nimrod, by the way. Okay, that is who Jupiter actually is. In Greece, he was known as Zeus, the lightning god, or the enlightener, the person who brought fire to mankind, meaning freedom, liberation. But anyway, let's read it. It says, the statues of the gods from the Pantheon are now found in the Vatican. The term Vatican meaning the house of serpents, or the house of snakes, museum, with the exception of the great statue of Jupiter, which has been modified, retitled, and seated on a throne in St. Peter's Basilica in Rome as St. Peter. Thousands of pilgrims kiss the foot of Jupiter while thinking it is the statue of Peter. Many people believe that Peter died in Rome. Peter was never in Rome. It was Paul's job to be the apostle to the scattered Israelites all throughout the Roman Empire. That was Paul's job. Peter's job was to maintain the teachings of Christ within the land of Israel. All right? So Peter was never in Rome. He certainly did not die there. That is part of the mystery, the deception. That is how they get you to still venerate the gods of old, really Nimrod and Cush and Semiramis, etc., and make you think that you're adhering to the concepts of the Bible. But even if you believed in the Bible, you would know that you're not supposed to build these images for people. So even if they told you that this is St. Peter, you're still not supposed to look at it as a righteous thing, because you're not supposed to venerate or worship idols. Scriptures tell you that plainly. But anyway, peace.